by NEDA and the DOF. No? So, there's hindi specific ang pinag-uusapan dyan eh. Hindi parang sa ministerial level na parang ano yung rota, saan, etc. Here it's more, sir, this is the president, this ganito, this ganyan. Then the president speaks. Then after the president speaks, sasabihin ng kumpanya, we're very interested in going into the Philippines. So it's broad strokes eh. Hindi ito yung type na they'll parang salesman na, sir, ito yung computer, ito yung specification, ito yung brand, ganyan. That's how the courtesy calls go. And then, Sec Lopez, siguro ba, 15-20 minutes per meeting?
Per meeting,
yeah.
Yung mga ganon, yes.
15-20.
It's like a courtesy call.
Then picture taking. So, these aren't the same as when we have state visits na may signing. Yung may signing yon, medyo ano na doon, mature level na yung pinag-uusapan.
Senator Alan Peter Cayetano. Sir, could you tell us... Ian Duterte, sir, from ABS-CBN. Sir, could you tell us more about the bilateral consultative mechanism that the Philippines and China will be launching next week to deal with the issues in the South China Sea?
Maybe I can ask our executive director to answer that since she will be supervising and will be here. But let me just state that we're building mutual trust. And as I said from the start, the President is not only sincere, he is steadfast in protecting Philippine territory, will not give an inch in our claims, territorial and sovereignty rights, our economic entitlements. Now, having said that, we have agreed to bilateral talks. And China has had territorial disputes with many countries because of how large China, and has had success in the past in settling some of these disputes. No? So anyway, let me turn over to the Executive Director for what's going to happen on that now.
Thank you, Mr. Senator. Yung bilateral consultation mechanism, as you remember, it was something that both sides agreed to establish in 2016 after the state visit. It was in our joint statement. Finally, the bilateral consultation mechanism, or what we call the BCM, it's going to meet next week. Its only focus is in the South China Sea. So in other words, while, as our good ambassador has already explained several times, we are separating the tracks where we cooperate very well. And of course, we also have issues between ourselves, and that's where we put it. And these issues are usually in on the South China Sea. And so the BCM is the venue where we will be discussing these issues, both in terms of our concerns, respective concerns, and in where we can cooperate. Of course, we keep in mind that our disputes in the South China Sea, there's one part that's purely bilateral, but there's also parts of our dispute that concerns many claimants, not only the Philippines and China. So, as the good senator has indicated, we are currently always guided by the President's instructions, as well as our guiding principle that we keep our national interests top of mind, and we are trying to find a way forward with the Chinese.
What do you expect to accomplish during the meetings next week?
It's inaugural, so it's very short. It's really confidence building of mutual trust, showing each other that we can start to talk. Let me give you an example of a side benefit that benefits both countries. After the state visit, a tentative fisheries agreement was reached. That's why our fishermen can fish freely. And then there are talks between our two Coast Guard when there are storms, pagka may bagyo or may distress ang ships doon ay pwedeng mag-usap, no? So, you know, it's, let me put it this way, kumbaga, kung hindi tayo nag-uusap, it's guesswork and then tension and possible conflict. But when you open lines, much can be discussed. But both countries, of course, will be guided by their, like us, by our own laws, our constitution, Supreme Court decisions, and past gains, no, by the past administrations. So it will be a good start, but we're, you know, you don't expect to move mountains in the first meeting. But let me say, it will remove walls. So from a wall, there'll now be a bridge, but we don't expect moving mountains. You know, at the first, am I correct? First meeting, and maybe the first few meetings, because usually in the first few meetings you also state your stand, and you're usually very harsh in stating your stand, because that is the stand of your country. Tactics. And you do not announce your strategy or tactics to the world and to the opposite side. No? So kung, you know, if this was a battle, whether it's sports or whatever, we're telling you we intend to win. We intend to get the gold medal. No? And we intend to fight hard, or we intend to use this or that. But we will not tell you we will shoot more or rebound more, diba? Because precisely, the other side and the other sides. Remember, the dispute is not only between the Philippines and China. There are other claimants. And it's not all of these member states against China. We also have disputes with these other, and we also want to settle it peacefully with them. And let me answer that, but shift a little bit. The main goal, initial goal, is development, stability, and peace in our region. If there's no tension, we can develop in all parts. Our military can modernize. They won't be stretched thinly. Our tourism can go up. Take the example of our relationship with the Japanese. We are the model in the world when it comes to reconciliation. Because despite the experience in World War II, the Philippines and Japan now has a relationship that the president calls more than brothers. No? But if we were going to dwell in the past, for mostly young kayo dito, ask your grandparents, you couldn't even speak about inviting or meeting with them. No? So it's the same thing with the disputes that we have now, not only with China, but with others. We're trying to create the environment where we can talk. No? And then, hopefully, God willing, achieve the immediate goals we want, then the long-term goals. No? But again, we are in the Belt and Road Forum because we don't want any dispute to stop us from developing our economy and using all the resources available from us, from any of our neighbors. No? So we're pursuing the cooperation with Japan, we're pursuing the cooperation with China. Our efforts in the UN hopefully will bear fruit in our cooperation with the EU. You know, Congresswoman Pia from Geneva went straight to the EU to talk to European Union parliamentarians to explain the situation, and hopefully, you know, increase also the trade. Secretary Lopez, check his Facebook. You will see he's not sleeping and he's visiting all of our neighbors and around the world promoting trade. So let me just say that we will fight for our territory and our entitlements, but at the same time, it's very important that yung ekonomiya natin maput front and center.
Sir,
maybe.
Yeah, sige. Yeah. A quick rejoinder on what Senator Alan mentioned regarding the timing. No, alam mo yung timing is really important, and I think we can really trust on the wisdom of our president as to when is the proper time. Di ba parati niya sinasabi, I will raise that issue in due time. Hindi niya naman binibitawan, but at the moment, for the benefit of our country, our people, our prosperity, progress, ito muna ang pag-usapan natin and let's put that issue aside, no? So the right timing, hinalal po natin ng Presidente, and really a very large margin ang lead niya, and that we should really entrust in him that decision. In the same way that we experienced the wisdom of the President on when he decided niya to put this issue aside, and we started to talk to China, independent foreign policy, nagbukas yung trade, yung investment with Russia as well. Dati hindi na tayo makapag-usap, maka-attend ng conference sa Russia because of so many parang advisory din, no? that we receive, not of our own liking. So nagkaroon ng independent foreign policy, we are able to do now what's good for the Filipino people. That to me is bringing back Filipino dignity. No, nag-decide na tayo, attend tayo sa China, attend tayo sa Russia, magkipagkaibigan tayo dyan. Let's build the trade, investment, and we are seeing that all these talks with the Chinese counterpart, the Japanese commitment, the commitment from Russia. We're talking to Hungary, we're talking to Middle Eastern countries freely. No, so and all of this will be down to definitely yung benepisyo sa ating mga kababayan, more opportunities, trabaho at negosyo. And as mentioned, nasa over One Belt, One Road Forum tayo, i-relate ko lang doon sa binanggit ng kanina ni President Xi Jinping na yung prosperity talaga nakabase sa openness and exchanges, just like what they experienced, what the Chinese experienced in ancient times. Na yung very open sila. Imagine, nagtitrade sila, pupunta sila sa mga uncharted territories, bringing goods. Talagang out of trust and out of just making good trade and relationship with other peoples na hindi nila kilala. It's really that openness and yung free exchange of this relationship, the nilang goods, andyan na yung ideas. In fact, after all this, what's important, yung ideas and innovation that will spring out of all these dealings natin with all other countries. The important thing is that yung free tayo makipag-usap sa kahit kanino.
Anybody else?
Sandra Aguinaldo on GMA7.
Okay.
Thank you.
Secretary Lopez, para lang po maintindihan ng ordinary Filipino, no? Paano po i-implement yung pwede nating ma-achieve or makuha mula dito sa Belt and Road Forum? Kasi po, meron ding warning ng isang expert na baka po pumasok tayo sa more loans at will be financially dependent and it's gonna be a debt trap.
Even as we speak of yung build and the financing that growth and the infrastructure program, we are not really talking of loans heavily. It will be budgeted as explained to us by Secretary Joc, no? And in fact, in terms of loans, ang pinoproject doon 80% local, domestic loans, and only 20% ang foreign loans. So all these discussions are premised on ano ba talaga yung plano rin natin, and we've presented already those plans. So hindi po tayo maipit doon. If pag-usapan natin para maintindihan ng kababayan natin, for example, when we talk of yung infrastructure connectivity yan, ramdam natin. All these talks na makita natin na yung tulay, na in fact nabanggit natin before na may donation pa nga na 2 tulay sa Pasig River in different areas, at ano yun, grant yun. At meron pa yung mga official development assistance, infrastructure, be it a railway, port, seaport, and even possibly of course the roads and possibly airports. Pagdating sa trade connectivity, we're already discussing all this, yung trade transaction, yung purchase agreement that we entered with them, which is an actual purchase order ng agriculture products. Paano mararamdaman yun? Pag-produce ng agriculture products, yung mga farmers na nagbenepisyo doon at may benta na sila. Dati, tinatanggihan ang mga produkto natin, may konting problema lang. Ngayon, pag may konting problema, tutulungan pa tayo. Papadala pa sila ng technical expert para masiguradong pasado sa standard. So, pag ano ng relationship, tulungan, alam mong walang problema, nagtutulungan. Pag gusto, di ba, may paraan. Pag ayaw ka, may dahilan. Isususpend ka agad yung produkto mo at ibaban pa yung exporter. Yung ngayon, dahil gusto tayong tulungan, tutulungan pa tayo, gagawa pa ng paraan. Tulungan pa, padala kaming technical expert para maka-upgrade yung standard nyo at makapasa sa standards natin. So, example lang yun na talagang may benepisyo sa more output ng mga farmers. Ibig sabihin nun, mas maraming trabaho, mas maraming income. So, yun yung trade. Investment, ganun din. Actually, no, pag may investment na nagkausap-usap yung company ng China, kumpanya rin sa atin, investment yon, may employment po yon. So, and of course, income opportunities. Down the road, imagine pag lahat ng mga kumpanya lumaki ng lumaki yan, lumaki rin yung consumer base mo dahil may pera yung tao, mas malalong dalaming investment. It's a virtuous cycle na. We're entering that cycle. That's what we call parang breakout na parang everything's good. So, tuloy-tuloy na po yan. A larger consumer base, larger investment attraction, and more investment, more jobs again. Later on, yung mga OFWs natin uuwi na. Yun ang ambisyon natin. Sa Pilipinas na sila magtatrabaho, marami ng opportunities, imagine. So yun na ngayon ang ating in future, less OFWs. Meron pa rin yan, pero mababawasan na dahil yung mga engineers, yung mga kumpanya, nagtatrabaho sa kumpanya, kung magwi-waiter or yung ibang trabaho ka sa ibang bansa, baka mas mataas pang kitain mo ngayon sa Pilipinas. So these are the opportunities na very real. And in fact, nangyayari na po. The fact na bumababa ang unemployment rate natin, 4.7%, is real, starting a leading indication na dumadami na yung trabaho sa atin ngayon.
Follow-up question?
Dagdag ko dyan, pwede bang dagdagan ko yun?
Yeah.
I'm not an economist, but I was listening to the talk this morning. And the World Bank president said that there are several trillions loanable amount with 1% interest lang. Plus about 8 trillion with negative interest. Yun ang ating dapat kunin eh. Negative interest yan eh. So, yung sabi mo na mababaon tayo sa utang, mukhang hindi siguro ano eh. Kung if our economic managers will just be looking at the offers of financial institutions like World Bank, magbibigyan ng ganong generous offers, long-term and very soft loans, and hindi tayo mababaon sa utang.
Secretary Lorenzana, can the Philippines really get defense hardware from China, considering our conflicting claims in the South China Sea? And do you consider synergy or compatibility with our lone treaty ally, the United States, when buying military equipment?
Yung unang tanong mo, can we really get? Yes, we can. In fact, meron silang in-offer sa ating $14 million in December. Sa $14 million na yan, kukuha tayo ng 4 na fast boats, 200 sniper rifles, plus several hundreds of RPGs with ammunition yan. Yun ang unang, those are grants, walang mostly sa tax, $14 million, 700, meron katumbas sa yuan at saka sa pesos, I think 740 million pesos yan. And they will be delivered to us by the end of this year. Now for the compatibility, yes we can. I think there is because they also produce NATO specs, NATO standard specifications for their equipment. And pangatlo, can we get from them without yung ating, I think we should separate our dispute from the South China Sea from our relationship with the Chinese.
Okay, next question, Hannah Jane Sancho of SMNI. Microphone, please.
Microphone.
Evening, sir. Sir, any update dun sa naging bilateral talks ni President Duterte at sa Mongolian Prime Minister? Ano po yung naging agenda? Tapos sino po yung nag-initiate po ng meeting? Sila po ba or tayo po? And ano po yung purpose ng meeting po?
Yun pong humingi ng meeting is the Mongolian side. So I think also to answer a number of your questions earlier, this is not the first time for a Philippine president to meet the Mongolian president, although it's the first time for President Duterte. I think both sides generally talked about the bilateral cooperation. As you know, our bilateral relationship is still very young with Mongolia. It's still not very well developed. This also means that there's a lot of potential. The two presidents then spoke, the president and prime minister. They spoke about how to develop these areas of cooperation, for example, in agriculture, in tourism, in trade and finance. They also talked about some political and institutional relationships. We have a regular meeting between foreign ministries. So I think both sides are very interested to institutionalize this relationship between foreign ministries. And of course, not far from everyone's mind, because us being the chair of ASEAN this year, they obviously also talked about ASEAN and regional developments. For the president, he expressed this view that peace is better served when there is more participation by stakeholders in the region. And of course, Mongolia is an important stakeholder. So these are generally the lines that they discussed. It was a very interesting and productive meeting because it's a young partnership, and there's a long way to go. There's a lot of potential. Thanks.
Just a follow-up. Nag-invite po ba sila kay President Duterte for a state visit in the future? May ganun po ba sila?
Yes, I believe that was raised. And of course, those kinds of invitations will have to go through channels for that to be properly processed. Thanks.
Last na lang po. Last night, sinabi ni President Duterte na magkakaroon daw ng bilateral talks with the Turkish leader, Erdogan. Matutuloy po ba yun?
I believe both sides are very interested na matuloy sana, but it's a matter of scheduling. So both sides are trying to find a common time.
Next question from Rio Sablan of China Radio International, to be followed by Nestor Corrales of Inquirer.
Kasama mo, Inquirer.
Hello po, sir. So, magsasalita po ako sa Tagalog dahil broadcast language namin Tagalog.
Okay.
Sir, ulit, sa layman's term po, nung 8.2 trillion infra projects, sir. Marami nagsasabi na, ulitin ko lang po, mababaon daw tayo sa utang at magkakaroon daw tayo ng 197% debt to GDP ratio.
No.
Sir, paano natin may papaliwanag sa ordinaryong Pilipino?
Doon sa presentation nila, I remember the numbers. Una, hindi 100%. Yung debt to GDP ratio will even go down from 45% to 35% debt to GDP ratio. Okay, so isang numero yun. Pangalawa, that's the reason why it's important to pass the tax reform program, because the revenues, the net revenues to be generated, di ba doon meron babawas ang revenue at may kapalit naman na adjustment ng mga taxes para may net positive revenue. Yun din yung paggagamitan at gagamitan ng infrastructure budget. Kaya nga, very important yung tax reform program kasi internally generated yung funds to support the build-up. And kung may loan man, it will be, again, heavily on the local kasi wash with cash ang local system. At 20%, 80% local, 20% lang yung foreign. And pag sinumatotal mo yan, the 45 will go down to 35% ratio to the GDP. Kaya mali, it's the wrong information po ang naipasa.
I'd just like to quote or paraphrase yung kay Secretary Dominguez. No? Ini-explain niya na mayroon tayong shift sa paraan, and correct me Secretary Lopez, no, if I quote him wrong, no, may shift tayo dahil dati nakafocus sa PPP, but inherently ang problema sa PPP matagal ito, napakaraming proseso. Ngayon ang maganda naman sa PPP, yung pera mostly sa private sector nanggagaling, kaya yung fear ng iba ng utang. Pero ang klinaro ni Secretary Dominguez, hindi ibig sabihin na because binaliktad natin yung proseso, gobyerno lahat magbabayad nito. So sinabi niya, ito yung mga susunod na benefits. Una, ang gobyerno yung makakautang sa mas mababang halaga kaso sa private sector. So the project will be cheaper. Mas mura yung proyekto dahil mas mura ang interest ng public sector sa private. Pangalawa po, sabi nga niya, we can privatize or come out with any scheme after the construction phase or even when it is being constructed. Kasi dun sa PPP, yung risk na matuloy yung deal, yung construction, and mga problema, di ba, halimbawa sa Pilipinas, ang right of way parating very contentious, no? So, ang lalaking mga risk nito, no? So, pero pagka gobyerno ang gumawa at maganda na yung takbo ng construction, at any time, while it's being constructed, natapos, or it's already being operated, pwede i-privatize to. So, mababawasan ulit yung utang. So, the economic managers have again and again assured us that this is being monitored. Secretary Lopez is not only the DTI secretary, he was with NEDA, and they're working closely with NEDA na ipasok mo ano ang output nito. So kung gagamitin mo kasi sa mga proyekto that won't be productive, then yung fear na lolobo yung utang at it will be worse for us. Totoo. Pero kung very productive ang